Dead loud. Need to turn my volume down.
Yeah, you don't want this voice loud in your ear.
I wasn't going to say that.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel need for speed.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Snakes. What happened with snakes?
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Batman.
That's always a thing that I think I can be heard before I can be seen, like in the office and stuff.
Even when you're working from home?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
From deepest, darkest Eaglesham. Although it's like proper nighttime outside. I've had to put the big light on.
Same, yeah. Well, even then, I'm still in shadow, you know. I need one of these spotlight
A ring light.
things.
Yeah.
Yes.
I bet Sammy has a ring light.
He's got everything, that boy.
for his selfies with his hoodies.
Although I was quite jealous of his hoodie. I thought that looked brilliant.
Oh, John, you have to get one. They are honestly...
I was looking at them. I was on the website.
Amazing. they are so, like... when Chris got me, I was like, oh, I've heard of these like hoodies. When I put it on, I was like, I am never leaving this. This is a safe space. They're so cozy. It's lovely. And actually, just to the extent where there's a couple of times when I've actually had to take it off, so I've gone, I'm too hot, which in November in Glasgow is obviously completely unheard of. So, did you have a wee bit of snow yesterday?
No, we managed to avoid that.
I don't mind the snow. I mean, as long as it's not like knee deep like it has been in years, like the past couple of years has been really bad, but I don't mind like a light dusting across the village. It makes things look very Christmassy.
And it hides a lot of the flaws, doesn't it? As well. Makes things look very sort of even and nice, yeah. It's okay, I don't mind the snow to begin with, but see when it drags on for like a week,
yeah,
and you're having to trudge about in it and all that, you think, no, this is not fun at all.
I know, unless you've got a, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? A sled and some huskies.
Yes. Yeah, not many of them in Kirky, I can tell you that.
No, do you not have Jeeves to pull you around on the sled?
Well, I've got a winter team. The Alpine team, you know.
Oh my God, I love this. I was actually just reading about, this will surprise no one, a book that was called The Lost Cafe Schindler, and it was about a family who grew up in the sort of Tyrol Mountains, and some of the uncles and cousins and whatever, as part of World War II, they were an Alpine team, like a really famous like Alpine army whose sole job it was to, you know, trek across the mountains and basically learn how to survive in sort of snowy conditions and sort of put the enemy off and all that sort of thing, which it never occurred to me that wars happen in mountains. I don't know why.
Well, have you never seen Where Eagles Dare? No.
Oh, I try. It's one of my dad's, unbelievably,
I know it's
one of my dad's
favourites, yeah.
Christmas. No, but it's a favourite Christmas thing that he watches it over Christmas. And so I've not seen it because, I mean, even I put the World War II films to bed at Christmas.
Well, yeah. Well, you go into more serious stuff.
I'm saying nothing. But yeah, no, it just didn't occur to me that mountain warfare was a thing. And actually the thought of being trained to survive in snow and things, and obviously like really poor like altitude or high altitude, would you say, like, to me that seems like a silly tactical move to send your army halfway up a mountain that you're not familiar with the terrain.
But they need to be prepared for insurgents coming over the mountain or coming through the passes, because it can be an easy way to get from one place to another without really being found out. So it's, you know, in mountains are usually, a lot of them are at borders, especially in Europe. So it's ways to get armies in and out. I mean, you've got to remember Hannibal, these elephants.
That is true. I have to say it was an excellent book. It sort of took this family from pre-World War I right up until the 70s and 80s in Britain. And despite the title, I think that they couldn't prove a relation to Oskar Schindler, but they actually did prove a relation to Franz Kafka and Edward Bloch, who was Hitler's doctor. She's sort of following her family tree, and it kind of all unravels. It was a really fascinating read, actually. But yeah, I don't know, how did I get onto this? I have no idea.
Wintertime.
Wintertime.
Alpine.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Your winter team.
There's always a
That's it.
link somewhere, yeah. And we may
What's
as well
that
get the Nazi
rule?
stuff out of the way.
I was going to say, what's that rule on the internet that every conversation will always come back? What's it called?
I can't remember, but it's like I always come back to the Nazis. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
British thing, isn't it, really? You know,
Yeah.
you can have two people sit in a room within about 10 minutes. They'll be talking about Hitler. It can be people who don't know each other either,
Yeah, it's just, oh God, every conversation. No wonder my reputation's as bad as it is. The good news is we're talking about a different war today.
Yeah, the war to end all wars.
Yes, yeah, that worked out really well. Really pleased with that.
Spoilers, come on.
I must admit, I was getting a bit scared the other day because obviously there was the issue with they didn't know if it was Ukrainian rockets or Russian rockets that had ended in Poland. And I was like, oh God,
Yeah.
not Poland again.
I know, they must be like, oh no. Jeez, oh.
I know, haven't we suffered enough? So yeah, that was quite freaky though, because everyone was like, oh, that's it. We're all going to have to jump on and, defend or whatever. And I was like, bloody hell.
Yeah, isn't it?
It was a bit kind of frightening, actually. And it does, when you're watching something like, well, we'll obviously get into it, but when you're watching something like this, it's not really that much different now in terms of, it's
No.
ordinary men and boys that are on the front, certainly on the Ukrainian side. It's awful.
You see all these reports, and well, it's just as bad in terms of like ordinary Russians because they're getting conscripted. And
Have they introduced
some
conscription?
country and stuff like that. So because they're all getting pulled into the army because they basically need people in the front line, and these boys are just they don't know what they're doing.
No.
They're not getting given proper training. They're not trained as an army, really.
No.
It's
Do you know, we were debating this the other day because I can't remember I think it was in relation to the rockets landing in Poland. Do you think they would ever attempt conscription here again in the UK? I just think most people would tell them to fuck off.
It would be very difficult. If you remember back when it was it the first Gulf War, second one? I can't remember which one. All the army units that were in Western Europe, all the British army units, shipped out as part of the vanguard into Iraq. So what is supposed to happen is all the reservists and the TA all come in and fill these roles so they keep the bases running and everything. And loads of them brought court cases against the British Army saying that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're only supposed to be like defending the British Isles and all this sort of stuff, until it was pointed out they were going like in skiing weekends in Norway at the government's expense to do their winter training and all this sort of stuff, and they'd been in exercises to Europe and everything. They said, well, it's what you're paid for.
I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There were people obviously who had been in the army and they were not very interested in doing anything, even though they were still getting like a small salary for it and all that. There was stuff like that. So yes, to answer your question, yes, it would be very difficult. But if they brought it into law, they would enforce it. They seriously would enforce it. So yeah. But I mean, I know a lot of countries and all that still do, well, it's not conscription, it's military service, isn't it?
Oh, national service, yeah. I think that's still a thing in a lot
service,
of countries, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the big one just now is in South Korea because BTS have put their careers on hold so that they can do their national service.
That is totally not the reference I thought you were going to give. I thought you were going to say, like it's quite common, and I think it's still like Spain and Israel and stuff like that. BTS's cancelled world tour was not what I thought you were going with.
Well, zeitgeist and all that,
So I think they managed to delay it though. They managed to say, oh, well, we're pop stars, let us, skip it for a couple of years, but I think they've called them back in, haven't they? Yeah,
they have to do it. And they do it in Germany still as well, don't they?
Again, no comment.
I think there is national service. You have to do it for a lot of European countries do it. You have to do it for 2 years, but they don't like it. The British Army and the Air Force and the Navy don't like it because basically they're just going to be looking after a bunch of nutters for 2 years in a lot of cases. And these people are never going to, they're going to come in trouble and it's they're not interested in actually being there, obviously, and most people wouldn't be, but they after all that finished in Britain, the army was like, thank goodness, everybody that's here really wants to be here,
Yeah,
for some reason. They may be nutters and everything, but at least they've voluntarily signed up to it. So
I just think that there's so many people who, because you do your national service at what, like 16, 17, 18, kind of roughly those ages?
Yeah, around about then, yeah.
There's so many people when I look back on, like school or whatever, when I was that age, that should have been nowhere near like, weapons or anything like that.
Yeah. It's a person you wouldn't put in the same room with live ammunition.
Yes, and I can think of loads of those. So it does seem a strange one that at such a young age, you're especially, I just think at 16 and 17, everyone's a bit of a fanny. So like to actually have to go and learn how to, I was going to say do army stuff, I don't know what I mean. But it does seem an odd age to do it at as well.
Aye, well, I suppose it's before any sort of careers and things have started. I can understand why it's that age. And they're wanting people who are young and fit as well. So, and it's obviously a bit of a lottery whether you actually see any action when you're doing that, just depending on what's happening. Obviously in South Korea, there's always going to be a bit of action if their neighbours to the north have anything to do with it. So
yes.
Yeah, I was quite glad that it was not a thing when I was leaving school, because I don't think I would have particularly enjoyed it too much. But I suppose you would have done it. You had to do it.
Could you not be a conscientious objector to that as well? No?
Yes, but I think you still need to join. So they put you in the medical corps and things like that. Because a lot of conscientious objectors actually were on the front line, but they were there as medical technicians and all this sort of stuff, rather than, they were basically there, but without any ways to defend themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, you might have to saw an arm off or something along the way.
Yeah. More of that later, obviously. Did you watch Slow Horses? The one about the spies who go...
No, somebody else was talking about this. What's it about again?
It's MI5, but it's all these MI5 agents who are basically they've messed up in some way, or they've just been particularly useless at their job. So rather than fire them, they just stick them in this wee office on their own, and it's it's Gary Oldman that runs the team. It's based on a series of books.
That's it. It's Gary Oldman. That's in it. I knew. I was like, I definitely know the name from somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Slough House, the place that they all work in. And the first season of it was out maybe about 6-8 months ago on Amazon. No, sorry, on Apple TV. And the second season is just about to start next week, I think. And it's like 6 or 7 episodes, so it's really kind of compact and everything. And it's cracking storytelling, and obviously Gary Oldman, he's fucking excellent in it anyway. So that's really worth a watch if you get a chance. If you get a wee
Oh no, I do need to get, because also obviously there was a lot of attractive men in Vikings, but the absolutely stunning one has just been cast in season 3 of the morning show, Clive Standen.
Oh right, wow, yeah.
So he's playing a war photographer, and behind the scenes, he's in a vest.
Nice,
So
well, of course.
Apple TV.
Yeah, I really liked the morning show. I thought it was pretty good. I've watched the first.
I've heard
2
lots of
seasons
really positive reviews about it. Yeah,
it's good. It's very sort of zeitgeisty, especially the second season of it, because they started filming it just before the pandemic started, and then they basically scrapped the whole second season and redid it. So it included like a lot of COVID related stories and things like that. They introduced it was really just when COVID was starting to spread from Wuhan and all this. So it was very, very well done.
I remember asking you about this actually, because I was kind of thinking that the first season was based on the sort of Matt Lauer scandals. It's kind of a riff on that, isn't it? It's that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the first one is very heavily involved with, or takes a lot of its beats from the whole Me Too thing and everything. And like obviously there's been quite a few television scandals as well. So it mixes those into it in the way that people are represented and the way that people kept quiet about it and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, and then the second season there's a continuation from there, but they also bring in other elements as well, like to do with the fact that the pandemic and how they actually cover all that as well. But yeah, it's high quality soap, you know. But
I
there's
know, but
obviously a very good message in it as well.
yeah, yeah, I really like stuff like that as well. Did you watch that Hunters on Netflix, Amazon?
Is that the Al Pacino one?
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
they've just released some clips or stills rather of the second season,
Oh,
so that must be coming soon as well, which I'm quite excited about because I really
yeah,
liked
yeah, that
that.
was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, there was like a lot of very good actors in that one as well. That was
Yeah,
sort of jam packed with people. So yeah, it was excellent.
a lot of good violence
Yeah.
in it as well, I have to say.
Yes, there certainly was. Yes, it's quite a lot of stuff. I see you watched that Grogu and the Dust Bunnies as well.
I did. Oh,
Yeah,
it was
really
so
good, wasn't it?
beautiful. Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe it when they said a short. I didn't realize how short. I mean, it was literally only 3 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, watch it again and again. But yeah, it was. What a nice crossover! It was
I
such
know.
an unexpected wee surprise. It was because I knew they were going to. They said they were going to drop a Grogu short, and I was like, "Oh, how exciting!" And then all of a sudden, I started seeing all the Studio Ghibli stuff, and I was like, "This is what's happening! How exciting!" So yeah,
Nice.
I think that was just a wee treat, wasn't it?
Excellent. Yeah, it was. It was really good. Really liked it. And like I say, you're going, is that it? I watched it twice in a row because I thought, oh, right, I need to see that again just to enjoy it again.
It's the same. It's the exact same.